U.S. Justice Department charging 5 people with stalking, harassing, and spying on Chinese dissidents living in America. It's a crazy story. A federal court unsealed 3 separate cases today. The feds accused the defendants of working for the Chinese secret police and targeting people critical of the Chinese government. In one of the cases, they say the suspect targeted a man running for Congress in New York. Officials say the candidate participated in the pro-democracy Tiananmen Square demonstration in 1989, and they don't like that. He eventually moved to the United States, joined the U.S. military, became a U.S. citizen. The candidate appears to be Yang Jiang. He's still running for Congress in New York, but the feds say the Chinese government wanted to stop him. So 6 months ago, they allege an officer for China's secret police hired a private investigator. He asked him to dig up dirt on the candidate. According to the Justice Department, he told the PI if he couldn't find anything, he should just make something up, perhaps a scandal involving a prostitute. But officials say he told the investigator in a voicemail that if that didn't work, quote, violence would be fine too. Beat him, he chuckled. Beat him until he cannot run for election. That's the last resort. You think about it. Car accident, he'll be completely wrecked. More chuckling, right? The feds say they have not arrested the suspect. CNBC senior Washington correspondent Eamon Javers. Now, Eamon, this case is wild. What about the other 2 cases?
They're all wild, Shep. U.S. law enforcement officials today laid out a tale of deception, betrayal, and espionage, sending a message to the Chinese government: stop messing in American elections and don't try to trample on freedom of speech here.
Today's complaints serve notice to all foreign intelligence agencies, especially the Chinese Ministry of State Security, that efforts at repression within our borders will not be tolerated.
The allegations today included a heartbreaking story of betrayal. U.S. government officials said Sujun Wang, a naturalized American citizen and high-ranking member of a pro-democracy organization here, was secretly working for the Chinese intelligence agency called the Ministry of State Security and passing along information about Chinese dissidents, one of whom was subsequently arrested by the Chinese government. Now, this long-running campaign of harassment and intimidation allegedly included discussions of highway surveillance in Indiana with an agent tailing the car of a Chinese dissident who was driving there, an apparent attempt to bribe an IRS official for tax returns, and attempts at GPS tracking of dissidents inside the United States. Now, a lot of it allegedly involved this man, Matthew Ziburis, a former corrections officer and bodyguard who allegedly served as a private investigator who was ultimately working for the Chinese government. And officials today said they believe there are a lot more cases like this out there, maybe hundreds, and they want to hear from American private investigators who may have been hired out to spy on Americans for the Chinese government, Shep.